Sagittarius. The universe prepares you for an unforeseen awakening. There are seasons in life that arrive quietly without warning, and yet hold within them the power to reshape everything you thought you knew about yourself. Sagittarius, you are stepping into such a season now. The universe is stirring in ways that may not be visible at first glance, yet its movements are intentional, guiding you toward an awakening you could not have predicted. This is not the awakening you chase. It is the one that finds you, unfolding in the spaces between your plans and dreams. You may already sense its presence in subtle ways. In the restlessness that lingers, in the questions that refuse to fade, in the synchronicities that keep appearing as if the stars are whispering your name. This awakening will not demand that you abandon who you are. It will invite you to rediscover yourself with new depth and clarity. It will ask you to release the familiar comfort of certainty and step into a wider horizon where possibility reigns. You may not yet understand its full meaning, and that is part of its beauty. The unforeseen carries within it the element of divine surprise, reminding you that your path is bigger than anything your mind alone can imagine. If these words stir something within you, take a breath and allow yourself to soften. Let this message be a companion as you walk into the unknown. And if it resonates with your heart, I warmly invite you to like, share, and subscribe, so together, we can journey into the wisdom that the universe continues to reveal. Gate 1: The subtle whispers of an awakening. Sagittarius, awakenings do not always begin with thunder and lightning. Sometimes they arrive softly, like whispers at the edge of your awareness, nudging you toward a truth you may not yet be ready to see. The universe has a way of preparing you long before the moment of revelation arrives. It places small markers along your path, restlessness you can't quite explain, coincidences that feel more like synchronicities, dreams that linger longer than usual, as though trying to alert you that change is stirring beneath the surface. For you, Sagittarius, this is especially profound because your spirit is tuned to expansion. You crave growth, new horizons, new possibilities. Yet the awakening before you is not one you actively sought, it is one that seeks you. This is why it feels unforeseen. It bypasses your plans and reminds you that the journey of the soul cannot be fully charted by the human mind. Think of times in your life when the unexpected altered your trajectory. Perhaps you met someone by chance who shifted the way you saw yourself. Or maybe a setback, one that felt devastating at first, later revealed itself as the very turning point that set you free. These are awakenings in disguise, the universe's way of redirecting you toward a destiny you could not have scripted. Your current season carries the same energy. The first whispers of awakening often appear in discomfort. You may feel dissatisfaction with areas of your life that once seemed fulfilling. A job that once felt like purpose now feels heavy. A relationship that once offered security now feels stagnant. Or perhaps it's internal. An inner voice that keeps asking, is this really all there is? This discomfort is not punishment, it is preparation. The universe unsettles you so that you do not settle for less than the truth of who you are meant to become. Another sign of awakening is the recurrence of patterns. You might notice the same situations, conflicts, or opportunities showing up in different forms, as though life is asking you the same question again and again. Will you choose differently this time? Until the lesson is fully integrated, the pattern repeats. Your awakening comes when you finally see the pattern clearly and choose a path aligned with growth rather than fear. Consider historical figures who lived through unforeseen awakenings. Nelson Mandela, after decades in prison, emerged not bitter but awakened to a deeper vision of unity that would heal a nation. Malala Yousafzai, struck down in violence, rose into a global voice for education and women's rights. Their awakenings were not chosen, they were thrust upon them by circumstances. And yet they became vessels of profound transformation, both for themselves and the world. Though your journey may not be as public or dramatic, the principle is the same. The unforeseen awakening is the universe's way of aligning you with a greater purpose. The beauty of this kind of awakening is that it strips away illusion. Suddenly what you once thought mattered, titles, approval, old fears, begins to lose its grip. You start to see clearly where you've been living in compromise, where you've dimmed your own fire, where you've ignored your inner knowing. The unforeseen awakening is a mirror, showing you both the shadow you must release and the light you are destined to embody. Practically, how do you respond to these whispers? Start by paying attention. Keep a journal of recurring themes in your thoughts, dreams, and daily life. Notice where you feel drained versus where you feel alive. Listen to the intuitive nudges that urge you to explore, to question, to step outside your comfort zone. These are not random impulses, they are breadcrumbs the universe leaves for you. Most of all, soften into the mystery. Do not demand to know the entire map. An awakening loses its gift if you try to control it. The very essence of the unforeseen is surprise. Allow yourself to be surprised by the generosity of the universe, by the way doors open when you release control, by the way people and opportunities appear when you are willing to trust. Sagittarius, your awakening is already in motion. It is not loud, not yet, but it is steady. The universe is preparing you in whispers and nudges, through discomfort and synchronicity, through endings that quietly signal beginnings. Pay attention. Trust. For the unforeseen will soon become the unforgettable. The moment when you realize the universe has been guiding you all along. Gate 2, releasing resistance and making space for the unknown. Sagittarius, one of the most difficult parts of any awakening is not the transformation itself, but the resistance that rises within us before it takes hold. The human mind clings to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us, because the familiar feels safe. But the unforeseen awakening that the universe is preparing for you cannot enter where fear, control, and resistance take up space. Your task now is to loosen your grip, to release the narratives and attachments that keep you bound to what is small, so that you can step fully into what is vast. Resistance often shows up subtly. It is the hesitation to admit what you already know in your heart. It is the excuses you repeat, "I'll change when the timing is better," "I can't risk losing what I've built," or "I'm not ready yet." These thoughts may feel protective, but in truth, they are walls blocking the doorway to your awakening. Every Sagittarian knows that freedom is essential, yet even freedom-loving souls can cage themselves with old beliefs. To move forward, you must recognize where you've been resisting and summon the courage to let go. Release begins with honesty. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to out of fear, rather than love? It could be a job that provides stability, but suppresses your creativity. It could be a relationship where you shrink your spirit to maintain peace. Or it might be an old identity you've long outgrown, the version of yourself who once believed they weren't worthy of more. This process of release is not always easy. Can feel like grief because in many ways it is. You are grieving the familiar even as you welcome the new. Allow yourself to feel this grief. Do not judge it or rush it. Just as the archer must let go of the arrow for it to fly, you must let go of what weighs you down in order to soar. The letting go is the very act that propels you forward. Think of the caterpillar entering the cocoon. From the outside it looks like an ending, a stillness that borders on death. But inside, the caterpillar is dissolving, releasing the form it once knew so that the butterfly can emerge. Without surrendering the old body, the butterfly cannot exist. In the same way, your unforeseen awakening requires a dissolution of what has been, so that what is becoming can unfold. Real-life examples remind us of the power of release. Oprah Winfrey often spoke of how losing her first television job felt like failure, but it was the very release that positioned her for her true path. J.K. Rowling's rejections forced her to shed old self-doubt, creating space for her voice to reach millions. Each of these stories reveals that what looks like loss in the moment can actually be the clearing needed for destiny to step in. Sagittarius, you thrive when you allow space in your life. Your spirit needs room to roam, to explore, to expand. This awakening cannot fit into a life cluttered with half-truths or heavy obligations. So create intentional space. Clear your environment of what feels stagnant. Journal to release old beliefs onto the page. Speak aloud what you are ready to leave behind. These symbolic acts send a powerful message to the universe. I am ready, I am open, I am willing to receive. The unforeseen always carries a measure of uncertainty, and uncertainty can be intimidating. But uncertainty is also fertile. It is the soil where miracles grow. By releasing resistance, you cultivate that soil. By making space, you prepare for the seeds of awakening to root deeply in your life. Remember, Sagittarius, your fire does not weaken when you release. It strengthens. The flame burns brighter without the smoke of fear clouding it. The universe is not asking you to lose yourself. It is asking you to clear the way so that you can finally meet yourself as you truly are. Your unforeseen awakening is not waiting in the distance. It is already here, pressing at the edges of your awareness, asking for space to bloom. Let go, trust, and prepare. Because what awaits you is greater than anything you've imagined. Gate 3. Trusting the mystery and walking with faith. Sagittarius, your soul is wired for discovery. You thrive when the horizon is open, when there are new questions to ask, new lands to explore, new truths to uncover. And yet, the awakening that awaits you is not about traveling outward, but about surrendering inward, to the mystery, to the unseen, to the faith that carries you when logic cannot. The universe is preparing you for an awakening that cannot be charted by maps or secured by plans. It will not arrive with certainty. It will arrive with surprise, like a sudden sunrise breaking through storm clouds, like a melody that appears in silence. To meet it, you must walk with faith. Faith is not blind belief. It is the choice to trust the current even when you cannot see the shore. It is knowing that the fire inside you is connected to the fire of the cosmos, and that the same force that guides the stars also guides your steps. For Sagittarius, this trust can be challenging because you love vision. You want to see where you are going, to aim your arrow toward a clear destination. But this awakening is about trusting the bow, the release, and the unseen wind that will carry your arrow further than you imagined. Trust shows up in small daily acts. It is the decision to keep moving forward, even when the outcome is not guaranteed. It is saying yes to opportunities that scare you, listening to intuition that logic cannot justify, following a call that others may not understand. Think of explorers who crossed oceans before there were maps. They trusted that discovery itself was worth the risk. Your soul carries that same spirit. The difference is that now, the terrain you are crossing is not the physical world, but the inner one. Doubt, of course, will try to rise. You may question whether you are truly on the right path, whether the glow you sense is real or imagined. But Sagittarius, doubt is simply fear in disguise. It is the ego's attempt to protect you from the unknown. Instead of resisting doubt, meet it with compassion. Acknowledge it but do not bow to it. Let faith be louder. Faith says, I am guided. I am held. I do not need to see the whole picture to take the next step. Stories of great awakenings remind us of this truth. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in the darkest conditions, trusted that meaning could still be found in suffering. His faith in life's purpose became a philosophy that outlived the camps. Helen Keller, though both blind and deaf, trusted the guidance of her teacher, stepping into an awakening of communication that seemed impossible. Their paths remind us that awakening does not depend on favorable circumstances. It depends on trust. For you, Sagittarius, trusting the mystery may mean letting go of the demand to control timing. You cannot rush an awakening. It blooms in its own season. It may mean silencing the voices of others who project fear or doubt onto your path. Your awakening is not theirs to understand, it is yours to live. And it may mean surrendering the old belief that you must always have the answers. True wisdom is not having answers but learning to live inside the questions. Practices of faith can help anchor you. Meditation quiets the noise so you can hear the whispers. Journaling allows you to dialogue with your intuition. Spending time in nature reminds you that life unfolds without rushing. Trees grow, rivers carve valleys, stars burn for millennia. Everything is in rhythm and so are you. Trust also means remembering that you are not walking alone. The universe conspires with you. The right people, opportunities, and resources will align when you step forward with faith. Synchronicities are not accidents. They are affirmations. Each coincidence is a wink from the cosmos reminding you, yes, you are exactly where you need to be. Sagittarius, your unforeseen awakening is not a puzzle to solve but a mystery to embrace. It asks you to walk with faith, to trust the currents you cannot see, to allow yourself to be guided. The glow ahead is real, even if your mind cannot yet grasp it. And when the awakening fully arrives, you will look back and see that every uncertain step, every leap of faith, every act of trust was part of the divine preparation for this moment. Gate 4, rising into the awakening and living in alignment. Sagittarius, every awakening carries a purpose beyond its initial spark. The universe does not prepare you for transformation just so you can feel inspired for a fleeting moment. It prepares you so you can rise into a new way of living, one rooted in authenticity, alignment, and deeper connection to your truth. The unforeseen awakening before you is not just a revelation. It is an invitation to embody the person you were always meant to be. Rising into an awakening means taking what you have felt, seen and intuit it, and weaving it into your daily choices. It is about alignment, bringing your thoughts, words, actions, and relationships into harmony with your soul's fire. For Sagittarius, this often looks like reclaiming your freedom, your vision, your unquenchable thirst for meaning. Perhaps it means no longer settling for work that drains your spirit, but choosing instead the path that sparks creativity and growth. Perhaps it means speaking truths you once held back, allowing your voice to carry further than fear ever allowed. Or perhaps it means nurturing relationships where honesty and expansion thrive, rather than those where you must dim your light. Living in alignment after an awakening requires courage, for the world may still expect you to play by its rules. You may encounter resistance from others who feel uncomfortable with your transformation, preferring the old version of you. But Sagittarius, the glow of awakening was not given so you could shrink back into old roles. It was given so you could walk forward as your truest self. Authenticity is your greatest offering. Not perfection, not performance, but the raw honesty of being fully you. Think of artists, leaders, and visionaries who lived in alignment with their awakenings. Nelson Mandela emerged from prison embodying forgiveness and unity rather than resentment, reshaping an entire nation. Frida Kahlo poured her pain and awakening into her art, transforming suffering into timeless beauty. Their lives remind us that authenticity is not comfortable, but it is powerful. And when you rise in alignment, you too become a beacon for others who are searching for their own truth. This doesn't mean your awakening will strip away all struggle. Challenges will still come, but you will face them from a place of clarity rather than confusion. The difference is that now you will know what is yours to carry and what is not. You will know how to protect your fire rather than scatter it. You will know how to walk away from what is misaligned without apology. That is the strength of living in alignment. You no longer waste energy on what does not serve your highest good. Practically, living your awakening might involve creating rituals that keep you anchored. Morning journaling to set intentions. Time in nature to reconnect with your expansive spirit. Conversations that nourish your curiosity instead of draining it. These small, consistent acts reinforce the larger truth of your alignment. Step by step, you build a life that reflects your soul rather than society's expectations. And Sagittarius, as you embody your awakening, your energy will ripple outward. Others will notice your glow, your steadiness, your freedom. They may ask what changed, and in your presence, they too may feel inspired to awaken. This is the hidden gift of alignment. It does not just transform you, it transforms everyone who encounters your light. So rise. Step into your awakening not as a moment but as a lifestyle. Live in alignment with your values, your freedom, your fire. Let your authenticity be the flame that guides your steps. The universe has not prepared you for this awakening by accident. It has done so because you are ready, because you are capable, because you are needed. And now, Sagittarius, it is time to walk forward in the fullness of your light. Embracing the gift of awakening. Sagittarius, this awakening is not something you must chase or manufacture. It is something the universe has already been shaping within you. From the subtle whispers of restlessness, to the gentle urging to release what no longer serves, to the quiet faith that carries you through uncertainty, you have been preparing step by step for this moment. The unforeseen is not chaos, it is grace. It is the reminder that life holds mysteries far greater than what you could plan, and that those mysteries exist to set you free. This awakening will not make you someone different. It will reveal you to yourself. It will strip away the masks you no longer need and remind you of the freedom, courage, and authenticity that have always been your birthright. You will rise not as a new person, but as the truest version of yourself, aligned with the deeper rhythm of the universe. Sagittarius, the gift of this awakening is not only for you. When you live authentically, when you walk boldly in alignment with your truth, you become a beacon. Others see your fire and remember their own. Your courage becomes a map, showing that even in uncertainty, it is possible to trust, to expand, to awaken. So lift your gaze, Archer. The universe has placed you here now for a reason. Step forward with open hands and an open heart. Trust the path, trust yourself, and trust the glow that is guiding you. Your unforeseen awakening is the dawn of a chapter more radiant than you imagined, and it begins with your willingness to rise. If these words resonate with you, I warmly invite you to like, share, and subscribe, so together, we can continue walking the path of wisdom, healing, and the infinite possibilities the stars hold for us all.